21 matches, 25 goals. If I told you a few months ago that this would be Dembele's stats in 2025, how would you react? Well, if you had $1 for every second you spent laughing on the ground, Elon Musk would be broke compared to you. And who could blame you? While Ousmane Dembele is without a doubt one of the most talented players to burst onto the scene in the last decade, he was never able to transform his huge potential into greatness. He was raw, inconsistent, missed big chances, but most importantly, spent more time in the hospital than on a football pitch. So how on earth did he turn into a Ballon d'Or contender? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, everything will make sense to you. Because while Dembele might seem lazy and unprofessional, in reality, he just fulfilled his dreams too soon and wasn't mature enough to handle it. Let me explain. Ousmane Dembele grew up in a working-class neighborhood, and from a young age he was taught the values of hard work and discipline. Every single day, he spent more hours on the local football pitch than any other kid. He was living and breathing for football 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He knew exactly what he wanted to achieve, and nothing was going to stop him. And that work paid off. And as soon as he joined the Academy of Rennes, he excelled and was playing many years above his age category. As a footballer, he was developing rapidly year after year. But as a person, he was still just a kid, and that would eventually almost cost him his career. In the summer of 2015, Red Bull Salzburg were interested in signing him. They promised him regular first-team minutes, and Dembele really wanted to go. However, Rennes rejected the offer. Do you know what was his reaction? He sent them a photo of his plane ticket to Senegal and blamed them for ruining his career. He wanted to quit football and never come back. But fortunately, his mum had convinced him to come back. Shortly after, he signed his first professional contract, and as it turned out, staying in Rennes was the best thing that could have happened to him. Soon, he was promoted to the first team, and it didn't take him long to establish himself as the star of the team, scoring on his first start, finishing the season with 17 goal contributions and winning the Young Player of the Year in France. The following summer, every big club was fighting for him, but Dembele picked Borussia Dortmund as an ideal stepping stone, and with 18 goal contributions in the Bundesliga, he became the Young Player of the Year in 2 different countries in 2 consecutive years. But even though he was very happy in Germany, his dream was to play for Barcelona. And after Neymar unexpectedly joined PSG the next summer, Barca were desperately looking for his replacement. They sent an offer worth $100 million to Borussia Dortmund for Dembele, but Dortmund, knowing they had plenty of money after selling Neymar for the record transfer fee, rejected their first offer. After hearing that news, Dembele absolutely lost his mind. He stopped showing up for training, and he even completely disappeared for 3 days without notifying the club. But worst of all, he completely destroyed his house that was rented to him by the club. He was ready to do anything to force the transfer. Luckily, Dortmund accepted Barcelona's second bid, making him Barca's most expensive player ever. He had achieved his biggest dream, but as you may already know, this dream would turn into a nightmare. He made his debut coming off the bench in a derby against Espanyol and immediately made a great impression, assisting Luis Suarez after only 23 minutes. 1 week later, he was in the starting lineup, and just after half an hour, it happened for the first time. Dembele tore his hamstring. He was out for 4 months. Then, after returning in January, he barely had time to regain full match fitness before it happened again. Another muscle injury, another month out. And even though he stayed fit for the rest of the year, and he was finally showing signs of his full potential, in the second half of the 2018-19, he was struggling with multiple injuries again. But that was nothing compared to what would come next. In the entire 2019-20 season, he played just 8 games in all competitions. It couldn't get any worse, but at the same time, it didn't get much better either. For the rest of his Barca career, injuries kept coming over and over again, and he never reached his potential. We can't entirely blame him, as injuries are part of the game and no player ever wants to get injured. However, his lack of professionalism played a huge part. He missed a couple of trainings, including crucial pre-match meetings, because he stayed up all night playing video games and overslept. He was eating junk food, and when the club hired him a personal chef to look after his diet, he simply fired him and told the club he didn't need a police officer at home. Even when he was fit and ready to play, he was inconsistent. He was losing the ball, missing chances, not working hard enough without the ball. At times, he just didn't look like he cared at all. Gerard Piqué even criticized him publicly, saying he has to understand that football is a 24-hour job and he has to live accordingly. So how did this guy go from living in a hospital to being a Ballon d'Or contender? Well, it's a lot simpler than you think. In December 2021, he got married. In September 2022, he became a father. Those two moments have completely changed his life, his values, and how he saw the world. He became more disciplined, more motivated. He was taking care of himself and worked hard to become not only a better player, but a better person. And well, the results came pretty much instantly. In the 2021-22 season, he was the league's top assist provider despite completely missing the first half. The following year, he was one of Barca's most important players during their title-winning season. But even after that, the Barca fans never really loved him. He never really met those $135 million expectations. He was never really able to replace Neymar. But after he signed for PSG the next summer, he was finally free from that immense weight on his shoulders, and he was more motivated to grow than ever. He was not just focused on staying injury-free, he was also very keen on developing tactically. He worked on his decision-making, paying attention to every single detail, which is something he had been heavily criticized for in the past. But even though he was now fit and his performances were decent, he was still far away from being that absolutely world-class player everyone knew he could be. And after getting into an argument with the manager, Luis Enrique, which led to him being dropped from the squad for the Champions League game against Arsenal, many people were questioning his future at PSG. However, while a younger Ousmane would have problems acting like an adult, this Dembele was different. He apologized to Enrique and his teammates and returned to the starting lineup in the next match. Since the middle of December, he has been absolutely unstoppable. He has improved tactically so much that he is now completely capable of receiving and carrying the ball in the central areas, which would have been unthinkable a few years ago. With players like Barcola, Kvaratskhelia, or Désiré Doué around him, PSG has not only the most direct attack in Europe, but also the most flexible. They might not have a classic number 9 who can create a goal out of nothing, but they don't really need one, because with their pace, they will arrive into the goal-scoring position faster than any defender, and Ousmane Dembele is thriving in this team more than any other player. Do you think PSG can actually win the Champions League? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and if you think Kevin De Bruyne is finished, check out this video.